Again to welcome our keynote speaker for today's virtual event. Her name is Miss Anna Wielogorska. She's the procurement manager of South Asia region of the World Bank. Now, if I say she has been instrumental for many changes in public procurement. If I look at her background, she has got 25 years experience in public procurement. I mean, wide range of activities around, not only one areas, in a wide range of activities around. She has a wealth of experience in procurement reform, a very good knowledge of EU and UNCITRAL model law. In bank, if I say she has worked in Africa, she has worked in East Asia and Pacific, Europe, Central Asia, and South Asia. So when I look at this background around, I think she is the perfect person to set the tone for our discussion today. Well, friends, please join me in virtually welcoming Miss Anna Wielogorska for the keynote address. Anna, to you. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Batra. Good morning, distinguished guests, eminent speakers, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to virtually be with you. And I'm really excited to start the day as the keynote speaker for this conference. The key themes of today's conference are both the digital transformation and sustainability in procurement. And these two themes are in fact represent maybe the two key elements that are currently central to many of our discussions, not only in procurement, but the world's discussions, the climate crisis and so on. Also, you know, we all are suffering from various changes, the changes of climate change, but also the proliferation of technology in all walks of life. And these two are remarkably interconnected. And every time we go deeper, in understanding these elements, the outcomes always accelerate our efforts in ending poverty and enhancing the livability on our planet. And that's why we at the World Bank are always keen in advancing the frontiers of digital transformation and sustainability. Perhaps we should start with thinking back and look at the brief history of our journey in digital transformation in public procurement. As many of you may recall, it's now probably a few decades back, the procurement process was entirely paper-based. People were preparing their bidding documents, probably using typewriters, and then they were carrying the bids physically to the purchasers' offices, and bids had to be submitted there only physically. And you know, and all subsequent steps, bid evaluation, etc., were happening. Again, they were happening sort of on a paper basis. So these processes and these processes, I think, were exposed to very many shortcomings and also resulted in a very slow information flow. So beginning with the use of some information technology, faxes, emails, we started moving towards electronic procurement. And where the process of bid invitation and bid submission were facilitated through the internet, thereby increasing the efficiency of the process as well as keeping the integrity of the process intact. The industry leaders all started adopting enterprise ERP in their organizations for seamless flow of information, and thereby increasing their efficiency for things like contract management, and had faster processing of payments and record keeping in e-form. Later on, many industry players started to develop their own programs that were simple and effective from an organizational point of view. Countries like India took a huge step ahead and created things like the government e-marketplace, which provided a unified platform to a large number of buyers and sellers to allow them to transact in a more efficient way. As Dr. Batra mentioned, I sort of have experience in many countries, and I look to things, the developments in Indonesia, Philippines, many e-procurement systems. Despite this significant progress over the first phase and removing various constraints due to the physical flow of data, as well as enhancing the integrity of the process. The process, from many processes have largely remained in a fairly conventional form, with the main difference of switching to E channels and and sort of electronic submission, electronic ways of information flow. But we're now at the cusp of making the next stages, the next stages like bid evaluation, like contract execution, or contract administration, even making those digital and flow in an electronic way. And so sometimes the progress has remained distorted. The question, so some questions still remain, and particularly in the wake of a number of digital transformation tools that were never available before. So here I'm thinking about, now we have the blockchain, cloud, edge computing, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, digital twins, etc. I can carry on for a while naming all of these things. And all these technologies are already revolutionizing the course of the way in which we do procurement, but also they're reshaping the future of the world. There's also the data revolution due to the tremendous volume of data being generated in the process, and this allows us to analyze what's happening in various parts of the world, what's happening in various sectors, and given this sheer number and the amount of pervasive impact of these technological advances, it's become inevitable to think whether we can make any more quantum leaps. However, I'm convinced we can. And for example, I'm now in London meeting with all the heads of procurement, and yesterday we had a huge and very interesting session on how people are using artificial intelligence, machine learning, how we're using, various banks are using the data analytics in order to predict what's going to happen, data analytics to predict who may win, what the costs will be, what's the direction. I know that there are a lot of eminent speakers in this conference who will share their ideas, looking at the way forward on digital transformation, sharing their experience about e-procurement, had the use of artificial intelligence, where machine learning has been extremely helpful. And one of the things that sometimes frustrates me is that whenever we make an advance, we develop something and we're really happy that we developed it, but it's already maybe out of date because things are advancing. So I want to sort of think a little bit about and leave some open questions for you to think about as the day goes on, as we learn about the experiences that our various speakers will be sharing with you. Particularly as we look at the way and what we can still do in digital transformation, how we can apply artificial intelligence and machine learning. But we need to also think about maybe there may be some risks as well. So I'd like to pose some open questions, like how can we contextualize and democratize the application of a particular technology? So when should we adopt the predictive analytics? How we should adopt them? How this forecasting, for example, forecasting the financial distress that a vendor might suffer based on what they have to do as part of the contract that we're about to award them. And also how they might gain based on their performance in contract execution, and whether contracts should be converted to smart contracts using blockchain. Should we make use of a greater use of looking at the complete and artificial intelligence for looking at the complete smart chain, and whether we should prioritize the allocation in streamlining and building a unified supply chain of information flow using cloud. We might also ask questions as to whether we're mindful enough to apply the technology which suits requirements. So it's not it's never a one size fits all. And how we can better adopt the AI ecosystem, which is to be inclusive. And also we need to look at the risks of AI. And again, when we were discussing this yesterday, we were talking about, yes, you can ask ChatGPT or some other smart applications to give you some of the answers, but you have to be mindful, because what the various applications will give you, a Copilot or a Microsoft Copilot, just not to stick with naming one, that might not be correct. And we have experiences where somebody asked one of these applications, and all the examples that this application provided were completely fake. So we have to be mindful, and we must not believe what it says blindly. And I can also give a sort of experience where it's a rather unfortunate experience, but these are the risks that you have to consider, where a person was having a virtual conference, and it turned out that all the people that individual was talking to were actually deep fakes, and that person then and there were quite important decisions that were made, and then when they met physically, they said, well, it's great that we made this decision at this conference, and the other people that were nominally at this conference said, well, what conference? We were never there. So there are risks. So we need to be mindful of this as well. So we should carefully weigh our paths so that we're not drawn into any particular technology or any particular solution, and we have to be mindful of all the things that are there, and we also have to be mindful that we draw in any biases in a system. And now I said at the beginning that the two, sustainability and digital transformation are actually connected. And here I can give the results of one study where the energy consumption required to train an AI model was several times the lifetime CO2 emissions of an average car. So, so we need to think about and why? Because of the high electricity demands on data centers that were required for training the models. So we need to think, and this is where we draw together the two themes of the conference. We need to think about sustainability in procurement. Therefore, this becomes a very pertinent issue due to the cross-cutting nature of these two themes. Sustainability in procurement itself has many dimensions attached to it. We know that sustainable procurement includes various aspects, such as green procurement, energy efficient processes, energy efficient products, circular. We need to look at the circular economy. We need to look at the end of life of products. What do we do with products once they reach their end of life? And also, we can't forget so the social procurement aspects, like encouragement of to women-led businesses or encouragement of women in procurement. This list is endless, but we should continue to think how we can design better procurement systems, better procedures to bring benefits to the largest part of the population, and it's sustainable. So I don't want to take too much more of your time. I would like to express my sincere thanks for inviting me as as a speaker, and I hope that this conference will advance our approach and push. And I would leave you with a challenge to push the boundaries for the further betterment of procurement in a sustainable way. Thank you very much, and I will stay with you for a short while, and I hope the conference is successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for that insightful keynote.